Hey, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, we're actually in the middle of a typhoon at the moment, although there is a lull. I think we've been very lucky. We always seem to get pretty lucky so far, touch wood, that these typhoons come and go and we don't get affected too much. You know, maybe some wind and a lot of rain. Well, we've had a lot of rain, but everything in town I think will be closed. There's no schools today. And we've got stuff that we would love to do in Taliban and can't because it'll all be closed down there, I think. So we managed yesterday to do our deliveries, and we got through to the house that was being built, and we managed to get some much needed groceries out to some people that were in bad need of them. So we were pleased that we managed to do that. Now I wanted to just try to put to rest some things that just don't seem to be able. They're dead, but they won't lie down, and I thought I could shed some light on some of them. And if I start off by saying, when we really started in earnest to get our licensing done, first of all we started off with 4 or 5 weeks wasted time with an attorney who after 4 or 5 weeks admitted to us that he didn't know what the hell to do with anything that had to be done on computer. So that was a waste of time. So we went from there, and Jam, our friend who is the director at the Village of Hope, she came in and she is familiar with this kind of paperwork and has been our guardian angel, and we cannot thank her enough. Thank you, Jam. She also confirmed that she believed that the document that was purportedly from the DSWD was in fact, in her opinion, a fake, because she's quite used to reading these documents from the DSWD, and she saw that it was all set up wrong. So probably a Photoshop genius somewhere did that. Also, a contact that has been cited as being the one who leaked this document was Johannes, and Jam, who is the director at the Village of Hope, and we would hope that she would know who works there, says there is no such person as Johannes. So let's get that one down, dead and buried. Okay, now the first sort of thing that came up was a subpoena that we got, and we got a subpoena. Now, let me just explain how things can work with our videos. We just had a lady was looking at the house of the 7 children, and she's looking at the video, and the video is titled House, I believe, House of the 7 Children. So that's what we're building. We're building a house to replace the wreckage of a house where a family with 7 children are living. And her question was, where is this, who is this house being built for? Is it larger than normal? How many rooms? Will it be for a single person, a family? Who will it be for? And I said, well, I answered her by saying, well, for the family of 7 children. And then she said, oh, I realise now that I didn't look at the title. And that's a lot of what's been happening to us, is because people don't watch the information that's being released. And that certainly happened with the subpoena. The subpoena states clearly in there, although it's not that clear on this because Beth just did me a copy, but it says in there, as the NBI agent who talked to us said, well, this is not a big deal. This is to shed light, I'm quoting from the document, to shed light on a certain investigation to be held. Now, that was an investigation that was resulting from the complaints by Mr. Smith and later Mr. I think Winston. So on that subpoena, we went to the NBI and we were given a clean bill. The MBI, as a matter of fact, the MBI agent is now a subscriber. Okay, shouldn't that tell you a few things? So we gave him the stuff that we had about what's happening to us, courtesy of some of the people that we think should have some light shed on them. So that's that. The MBI, clean bill of health. Okay. Now what was the next thing? Now then, on another complaint that originated way back in July, was about me working, right? Now, what did that read? It said deportation investigation. It didn't say deportation order, it said investigation. And I did show that at the time, that this is an investigation. It's a complaint which, if validated, could have led to of my deportation. Now, that was the Bureau of Immigration. Bureau of Immigration. Let's look at that one. Now, the Bureau of Immigration, when you apply for resident status, must carry out an investigation. You must have a Bureau of Immigration clearance. Now, when they go on the computer in Cebu, and they look at anything that may be impending, pending, threatened, and everything. And this DSWD asks us specifically not to just hold up documents like this, or film them or photograph them and then show them on our posts. So we're honouring that agreement. But this is my certification that I'm reading from. This is to certify that the name Martin Terence Peter, or Terence Peter Martin, United States of America, born, so on, United States of America, listen to this carefully, does not appear in this Bureau's hold departure, blacklist, watch list under, or intelligence derogatory records as of the 5th of November. The 5th of November 2018. This certification is issued upon request of the subject for VIMS application purposes. I do not have anything pending, nothing at all. As it says here, I am not on the Bureau of Immigration's hold departure, meaning I cannot leave the country. I am free to do as I wish. I am not on their blacklist. I am not on their watch list and or intelligence derogatory records. This is my clean bill of health on immigration. Now, what did MBI say? MBI said that they would report to the DSWD that we are in compliance. We are in compliance. So that little thing left over, just wanted to tell you how things have changed. How things have changed is now that we have to get a signature for everything. So we have to have reports made. We have to work with a social worker. We have to show exactly what we're doing. We have to hold reports. We have to have what can I call it? We have to hold a journal so that everything that we do can be accounted for later, and that's what we're doing. So now that we have our SEC approval and that everything else has been adhered to, and we're waiting for any rubber stamp that may have to be made, we are actually moving on. But just to give you an idea, it has been said that it's easy to get a non-profit charity set up. You can do it in half an hour apparently, but we haven't found that. Maybe it was just us, but we haven't found that. We had to go to Manila for the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. We had to go to Manila. We had to, both of us, take a flight to Manila at great expense to ourselves. Right, the SEC, all tidied away, all certificated. We have our certificate. Then we have to go, and then this is among the kind of thing that you have to do and the kind of paperwork. You've got the SEC, you've got the mayor's permit and business permit, you've got PhilHealth, you've got SSS, you go to the engineers department, the fire department, BIR. All of these people, you have to go and you have to wait in their office, and you have to wait until you can be seen and talk through what you need, show them the forms. In some cases, the forms that we showed people, they had never seen before, so naturally they have to go and talk to somebody else, and that somebody else might be at lunch. So is it easy? No, it's not easy, and it's misleading to be telling people that it does, because although we've had our difficulties, we admit that the thing, our help mission just got out of proportion. It got out of beyond anything that we ever thought could happen. And we wanted all the time to be in a permit. It's just that nobody seemed to know what the heck to do. As I say, 18 months ago we did go into the DSWD's office in Taliban, and we went in with a permit that had been we had been downloaded from the internet. And we went in and we had filled that up dutifully, and we had our fee, and we took the fee, and can we just get this? And the first question was, where are your funds coming from? And we said, well, America and the UK and abroad. Said, well, this is no good. You have to get another permit, and they didn't know where to send us. So it's kind of like a comedy of errors. But as for the idea that it's easy, let me show you the kind of paperwork that has been generated. Got just a few. Look, none of them have just a few pages. They're all files, they're all filled with paper, which has to be, and they're all in there. They've all got their file. They want them in a coloured file. You see, my point here is not, oh, look at it, isn't it a shame for us because we've got all this work to do. That's not the point of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to lay to rest the idea that you can just walk in and half an hour later you come out and you've got a non-profit. It just isn't so. Now, I didn't spend time doing all of this so that I could bluff you through stuff. This is all stuff that has to be done. Photocopies, printing. Here. It all has to be done. This, look, just look at this. These are all the things that have to be done in order to have our charity. And we've done all of that, and all of that paperwork that is there. And we still are looking at anything else that may come up. When we went for my permanent residence, we went there and we talked to that you have to go for an interview. Whether that was how it used to be, and other people calling in and saying we never did an interview. You have to do an interview. That's what we did. We did an interview. They looked at our records. This is a lady from the Bureau of Immigration, and they come and they look at and they interview you both. We were both in there, ask questions about our marriage and all of this, and all of this has to be done, and it has to be adhered to. As soon as you get into the machinery of bureaucracy, then it grinds very slowly. And sometimes I think it needs a good service, but that's just me. There are other people. When we went to the SEC in Manila, we walked into that huge building. I don't know whether anybody has ever been in there, but it's huge. And the place where you go for your license, it had hundreds of people in there. For some reason unknown, an angel on our shoulders, we happened to talk to the right person, who put us to the next right person, who put us to the third right person, who had the authority to look through all of our paperwork and approve us. And he said, I'll never forget the words that he said. He said, I can't promise, but we'll try to have you out of here today. So we sat very patiently and we waited, and it was all done. And we walked away almost with tears in our eyes, believe me. And then we came back, and this is how our life has been, going off here, going off there, going to Cebu. We went to Davao. We went in, we've done everything that possibly inhumanly can be done in order to get things going. And now, even this is how much it's different for us now. We used to just go and say, why don't we just go to this barangay or that barangay and give away the stuff that we've had from our latest balikbayan box. It's not so easy now. We have to get things signed for. And that takes some doing when you're going and you're giving a load of stuff out. You have to work out how that's going to be done. And that's what we've been doing. I'm just putting the camera back on there. And that's what we've been doing. But I wanted to show you just what is involved in, this is the application and the then keeping it going, how things have to be. You have bylaws, you have a board. We had our first board meeting, and all of these things have to be learned, and it's a steep learning curve. Fortunately for me, I have my warrior princess Beth, and she is incredible. She does all of this, and she does it almost on a 24-hour basis. I have to tell her to go to bed, it's time. It will all still be here tomorrow. And that's what we do. So we're actually getting things done again, and that's what we're hoping for. We've got some great news. We have our friend Kevin. Kevin has a company called Pukiko in New Zealand. And when Kevin came and stayed with us, we talked. Kevin, you may know more for the fact that he gave us a cement mixer, which we are sometimes able to use and sometimes not. For instance, if you've looked at the house that we're working on at the moment, the house for the family with the 7 children, there's no way we can get that cement mixer up there. So it's back to the old ways of working by hand. And he gave us that cement mixer. And that was almost our first contact with our friend Kevin, because he wrote a few comments and a few messages, and then out of the blue he said, I think, Terence, you need a cement mixer. And of course, people have said this before, well, I think you need this and I think you need that. And nothing comes of it, because people speak with good intention, but sometimes they can't follow through. So the next thing I know, he says, find out what it would cost for a cement mixer. And have to admit, I almost went, yeah, okay, will do. And I found a cement mixer for, I think it was 46,000 pesos. As soon as we showed the cement mixer, which we paid 46,000 pesos for, somebody immediately wrote in and said, you got ripped off, they saw you coming. I could have got that for 36,000 or whatever it was. And I wrote back to him and said, you could have got that for 36,000 with a motor. Okay, now, would you send me a picture? Just send me a picture on your phone of that cement mixer with the price on it at the store. And yeah, I would love to see that. No, I never heard from that man again. And now we've got people who are thinking that everything is so correct, as if we've gone to, say, Alturas and we get an official receipt. But if you go to the local Sour store, they don't have a receipt book, you know. So it's a handwritten thing, and those detail what goes into every one of the boxes. Now, for the people that I continually get asked, how much does this house cost? And I continually say, each house is different, but we're looking at between something like 50,000 to 70,000. Now, does this include a bathroom and a toilet and a kitchen? No, it doesn't. We're not going out to install people into a rich lifestyle. There's no bowling alley and there's no swimming pool there. Okay, these things may come later by their own work. Well, what we're really looking at is providing a modest, secure, safe, dry dwelling that they can live in, which will be a palace compared to the house that we took them out of. Okay, so that's really what we're doing. But I've digressed, as is my way. Kevin and I talked when he was here. We talked about the future. This is when we didn't have any of this paperwork done. We didn't have our license. We didn't have all of our permits in order. We hadn't done that work, and so we were still up in the air. But we talked about dreams, and the dream that Kevin and I and Beth had was that perhaps someday, that in the not too far distant future, we would be able to take students who were high energy, self-motivated students who had done well, were award-winning, and were truly interested in furthering themselves in order to hopefully to come back and help their country. And I said at the time that I would just love to have a situation where we help with the scholarship and we get these kids through university, and they come out with, they'd have to have a good report. They'd have to show that they were worth investigating. Sorry, I got that on my mind, haven't I? That they were worth investing in. And then we would try to find them a safe situation abroad where they could go as working students on what in any other country would be called an internship. And they would go, and supposing, let's say for the sake of ease, they had done an accountancy course or a business management course like Beth did, that they would be able to go and be employed, albeit on working student wages, and they'd be able to go and say for 6 months they would go to a different country, maybe Canada, maybe the US, I don't know, Australia, New Zealand. Well, New Zealand brings us to Kevin. Kevin is living in New Zealand and he comes and visits here. And he is very interested in getting a link between our charity and his company, where he would secure among his business friends and contacts and colleagues a place where students could go, be placed, say, with a family, like on an exchange basis, and they would go to work and they would be taken care of in a vetted, well-vetted family, and they would be able to go and work there. And that's what we were hoping to do in the not too far distant future. We got to get going, get everything all in line, and right now the next thing that we're waiting for is just to get funding coming in and to get our houses being built. We really want to have achieved 50 houses. That will be 50 families who will be rehoused, and that's, I think at the moment, is somewhere between 10 and 15 houses that must be built before Christmas. Now we set ourselves a tough target last year, and somewhere, I think with only weeks to go, we got 3 or 4 families rehoused before Christmas, and that's what we're hoping to do here. Thank you for listening. I hope we put to rest some of the mistakes and untruths and incorrect facts that are out there about our situation. And we'll probably do more informational things as time goes by. Thank you for being with us.